Good afternoon, beautiful people, and welcome to the Little Things We Can Do podcast. On here, we talk about the little things that parents can do to help their children navigate this crazy and beautiful world. Happy New Year, one and all. It's my first recording of 2024, and I'm praying that all of us are blessed, highly favored, good health, strength, sound mind. That's all we need for 2024. God's grace and keep safe. Okay, tonight I want to talk about children being absent from school and how it impact them on different levels. So we're having a national crisis right now in the country where children are being absent. And I'm gonna give you my experience of not being in school as an adult. So I work in a school, and if you miss, let's say you've been unwell for 3, 4 days and you're not in school, when I go back to school, I struggle to know what the kids have done. And you might say, why you be struggling as an adult? Good example. Let's say the kids are reading a book, and when I left Friday, they we read to chapter 2. The kids come back in Monday, they've read chapter 1. They're having discussion about it with the teacher. Because I wasn't in class, I don't know the discussion they had. I don't know the key points that the children gave the teacher. I don't know the jokes they make. I don't know where the conversation goes. And I am an adult and I've missed 3 or 5 days from work. And I struggle to know where the class is. So now just imagine you have a 6 year old or a 7 year old, 10, 11 year old missing weeks from school. How will they catch up? If, as an adult, I struggle to know what happened in the class, how do you think your children who is absent from school will catch up? With maths, it's kind of a different thing because if you're doing timetables, you do timetables. But what happened in primary school, you do an average of an hour maths class each day plus interventions. So if your child miss 5 days from school, they would have missed 5 hours worth of maths. And if it's a child that normally goes for maths intervention, they would have missed out on that intervention. And you might be thinking, oh, it's just a timetable, it's just this. But when the teacher is teaching with maths, whichever topic he or she is doing, they use a particular language to convey what they want the child to learn. So if your child is absent, yes, they may able to do the maths because they might be good at maths, but they will not know the language that the entire class is using. An example, I remember I we used to say corners, and then they said, oh, we're gonna change it to say, is it vortex, where the corners meet. Now the child need to know the language of the lesson. So if your child is absent, they are not learning. If your child is absent, they have gaps in their learning. If your child is absent, they are lagging behind. If your child is absent, they are not confident enough to have conversation about a particular lesson with their peers because they've missed the learning. And let's break it down. So your child has missed a whole week of school. We don't know the reason. If your child is unwell, your child is unwell. But you can't be bothered to get the child up, the child wake up late and all of that, the child is absent. It's gonna affect them. When they come to class, your child will not feel confident and secure in their self. When they come to class, other children in the class would have started to make different friendship groups. So if your child has got a dear friend, when your child is absent, their friend carry on playing with other children. And when they come back, sometimes they struggle to get back into the routine or the rhythm of what happened. Now, when your child is in secondary school, things move a little bit faster than primary school. And if your child is missing lots of days in secondary school, it might impact on their exam results. Now, I know schools are doing a lot to get children into school, but the responsibility is not the teachers and principal to get your child to school. It's the parents' responsibility. Now, there can be many reasons why a child is absent. The child can be unwell. Parents can be unwell. Probably have dysfunction at home where one of the parents have left and things become overwhelmed on the other parents. The other thing is dysfunction as in behavior. Because if your child is going to bed 12 o'clock, your child cannot wake up 6 or 7 to get to school on time. If your child is going to bed 2 a.m., your child will not be able to wake up on time, alert and ready to get to school. They will wake up cranky, miserable. You drag them to school literally because you went to bed late. I've heard mothers say they overslept. That happened to me before, so I can't complain. But if you are the parent who sometimes you might struggle to wake in the morning, give yourself 3 alarms. I have 3 alarms. I've got the first alarm that tells me it's wake up time. The second alarm that tells me you need to be up. You need to get up and get in the shower. And the third alarm that tells me when my third alarm go, I must be going through the door. So I have 3 alarms in the morning, and the first one is just to get me going. So I'm saying to parents, you got to structure yourself and organize yourself from the night before so you can get your child into school on time. Not on time, be in school. Now, when your child is absent, we are looking on this on the long-term effect. Your child is absent in primary school. They are missing out learning. If your child is not in school, they are not learning. So your child is missing learning. They get to secondary school, there are going to be gaps. Yes, some of them may catch up. They secondary school, if you're missing lots of days, you're going to be missing in your learning. It might affect your GCSE, it might affect your A level, it might affect your ability to progress into tertiary education. Now, I'm not saying if you're absent, you can't hold a good job down. But bear in mind, the little things that we do now is what set precedence in those children's life today, tomorrow, and for a lifetime. So, as parents, if you're getting your child to school, your child is missing school or getting there late, you're telling your young woman or young men that when they get older and they have a job, they don't need to turn up every day. Now, we're not trying to raise slaves to be up running every day, but we need to set a sense of dedication in our children. We need to have our children know that once you make a plan, you stick with it. And school, the teachers and everybody have that plan for your child. If your child is at home, they are not participating in that plan, they are not learning. Now, I talked about confidence before. If your child is always absent from school, your child will lack confidence in the classroom. The teacher asks a question, your child will struggle to answer because especially if it's a topic, let's say we're doing science, and the topic progresses over say 4 weeks, and your child missed the first two, they will struggle to catch up. If they miss the first one, it's not so bad because you could probably fill them in. The teacher might pull them aside, discuss with them what happened. But after you've missed 2 lessons, it's going to be very difficult for your child to know what's happening because the lesson builds on the first thing, on the first thing, on the first thing, and carries on. Now, if we talk about friendship, a lot of time we realize children who are absent from school regularly struggle to make good friends in the classroom because they're not there, and they can't rely on their friends to they can't rely on their friendship group, and the friendship group can't rely on them. You need to be there to get that friendship building. You also find that children who are always absent, they may be the child that disrupts the class more. Two reasons. One, they are not able to follow the lesson, so devil find work give idle brains. We say idle hands, but idle brains. Because if the child is not learning, the child has a missed lesson. They don't know where the lesson is. They don't know how to catch up. They're gonna distract themselves. They start tapping the table. They start messing about with things because they find they're lost. And the child doesn't know how to say, Miss, I don't know what you're talking about. They just sit there and disrupt themselves and the table and the entire class because they were absent. Also, we find that children who are absent because of the lack of self-confidence, they might also get into fight more because they will come back, think John and them, let's say John was their best friend. They've been absent for 3 weeks. John move on to other people to find friendship. Then they come back trying to find their way in that circle, and it's not possible. So they end up having a fight. Also, if you think of a community setting, if your child is not in school, where are they? Yes, they could be at home. Is the home a safe place for your child? If so, it's good, but we still need them in school. If your child is not in your house with you, being supervised by a parent, they're on the street. If your child is on the street, what will happen? They get themselves into gangs, drugs, fighting, um, harassing other people. Then some of them might get themselves caught up in bringing drugs from one area to the other because people start to see your child lightering and they say, oh, this boy is always missing school. We can use him to do something for us. So having your child out of school it has a bigger impact on your child education and also their life. Now, if you miss a lot of time in primary school, all is not lost. You got time, you can catch up. But when you start to missing time in secondary school, this is where it gets really bad. Because if your child is, say, 12, 13, 14, and they are not in school and they are not in the house, where are they? Where is your boy or girl, 12, 13-year-old, who is not in school, not in the house? They're out giving trouble. The police going to come knocking on your door. You're going to be hearing, oh, your son was harassing people in the park. They're getting into fight. They probably left your house, gone into town center and getting into fight. Because they're not in school, they are left out to their own device, getting into trouble, or to older students or people who don't go to school influencing your child. We know schools are not perfect, and we have bullying, and you have children with anxiety, and you have peer pressure. So we're not saying the school system is perfect, but if your child is having an issue at school, find support. Go to the school, speak to somebody, try and get that thing resolved. Most schools, once you come in and say the reason why my child is absent from school because they're being bullied, or so they try and fix it as soon as possible because they want your child to be in school. It is important for your child learning to continue. Now, school is should be the safest place for your child to be, and the principal and everybody they will work to keep your child safe. Now, as a parent, if you're struggling with your mental health, if you're struggling financially, if you're struggling with housing, go into your school and speak to someone, or speak to social service, or go to your local they got charities who can help you. Go and speak to someone because what will happen? You are struggling as a parent because of money, ill health, mental health, and hence the child is not getting up, not getting to school. So you're in a situation which is not good for yourself. And because you haven't gone to get help, your child also falls into that situation. So I'll give you an example. The parents is struggling with a mental health. And so the boy, he normally gets up and get himself ready for school because the mom is always in bed. Now, it's not mom's fault. She's unwell. So the boy do it himself. But eventually, because there's nobody encouraging him to get up, get ready, get your clothes ready, get to school, he stopped going. Sometimes mom only realize at 11 o'clock that he's not in school because she see him in the house, or when the school calls and she pick up the voicemail 15, 30 minutes later. She realized her boy, he maybe have left the house, but he hasn't gone to school or he's still at home. Now, mom is unwell, but if mom could contact the school, sometimes the school will put things in place. They'll come and knock on your door and get you up. They'll probably make a phone call. They'll do things to help you. So mothers and fathers, guardian, if you're not feeling your best self to get your child to school, ask for help because that will give you someone on your side. That's number one. Two, your child is out of the house, going to school. and it's better for their future. Because if your child is at home and they're missing 3 days, let's say they miss 3 days every week or 2 days every week, within a given month, that's a lot of learning your little boy or girl is doing. And then that primary school behavior is going to carry into secondary school behavior. What does their future look like? It's not looking bright. And we're talking about I'm going to talk about socialization. Although I don't believe we go to school to socialize, but they do. If your child does not build up that ability to socialize with their peers, have good communication, have good relationship, build good friendship group, they will struggle to build friendship group in their community. They will struggle to build friendship group in secondary school. And as they go through life, they will find it difficult to build friendship because most times we learn how friendship is developed from primary school. That's when we first, because we have family at home, but we're not friends. Your mom and dad is your mom and dad. They're not your friends. When you get to school, that's when you start to build rapport and to make friendship. That's when you start to make good bonds with people outside of your home. If your child is absent, they are losing out on those skills, the skills of sharing, the skills of turn taking when you're having a conversation, the skills of navigating and solving problems, the skill of yes, I'm upset, but I'm in a situation where I can deal with my emotion and have a conversation rather than go into a fight. And what we realize, the children who are always absent, they are the ones who get into fight more because they are not confident in themselves, and most of the time they're just not their best self. They're always absent and it affects the child's moral because when they come to school, everybody know they were absent. Everybody know they missed out. Everybody know that they're not where they're supposed to be. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is if there's dysfunction at home, so parents are fighting, there's drugs, there's alcohol, and your child is at home with you, what is your child learning? They're going to start doing drugs and alcohol also. That's one. Two, if the parents is on the sofa, passed out because of drugs, your child is going to leave your house and go find other role models, people in the community who sometimes are not good. Sometimes, by God's grace, your child may leave a dysfunctional home, and find a safe haven in the community. Sometimes, not all the time. So that is why one of the thing is the home structure, and there is provision. The school they have something called early help. If it's a situation where you need help getting your child into school on time, getting your child into school in the right uniform, your school can help. There's community services that can help. Do not stay home and suffer because you are struggling whatever you're going through, but then the impact of it on your child's education is worst off. Because if that child does not get a good education, he or she can't help you in the future. And bear in mind, as parents, we want the best thing for our children's future. And I'm going to close off. If your child is not in school, he or she is not learning. Yes, you might be at home and you learn life skills and you learn street talk, but you're not being educated. You're not following the pattern of knowledge and development like everybody else. Um, I'm gonna stray off point for a little bit. When the parents speak low of education, it impacts on how the child see education. I'm gonna give you an example. You have a mother and a father and they value education. So they speak positive about education in front of their child, in the child's hearing. They speak highly of education with their adult friends. The child will love education. But if you're the kind of parents who think school is rubbish, principal is rubbish, the teachers are crap, your child will not want to go to school. Yes, you may take them to school, we may force them to go to school, but they don't want to be there because they are listening to your language regarding school. So I'm going to say to you, parents, if you have a disdain for your school, for your child's school, go and speak to somebody. Do not discuss that with your children or in front of them. Because if you're discussing the school environment, it's not good, it's crap, whatever, in front of the child, your child is not going to want to be there. And your child will go to school and you can tell because of their behavior and demeanor that education is not important to their parents. Hence, education is not important to the child. So, parents, be careful what you speak about your child's school in front of your child or in the hearing of your child. Because whatever you speak, the children will act it out. When you speak to children in school, you know if mom and dad values education because the child does his or her homework. They turn up to school looking real smart. They are in school every day. They're ready to learn. They've done their homework. They read up on the lesson to come. So you know family value education. And then you have the flip side of it. The child turn up dressed any and anyhow. The child is always late. The child is always absent. He tells you he doesn't need to be in school. He can get on without education because of what they hear parents and guardians and adults say. Getting your child to school is everybody's responsibility. It's a community responsibility, it's a home responsibility. And as a parent, if you're struggling, go and speak to your school. Let them know what's happening. There must be someone in there that can listen to you and get you some early help to get your child in school every day, Monday to Friday, on time. Because it is important for your child's future, today for tomorrow, for a lifetime. Let me make a small prayer before I go. Father, I want to ask you to protect our children when they are at home with us and when they are out of our sight. And when they are in school, help them that they have the best learning time and the best experience so they will want to be there. For Christ's sake, I pray. Amen. This is Nisha signing off. Good night. Goodbye.